I stood in that church, watching him marry her, when he pointed at me and laughed. Look, everyone, my old maid showed up. The room erupted in laughter. But when my phone rang and I answered, his smile died. Because the man on the other end was about to change everything. Before we dive into this incredible story of karma and unexpected love, hit that like button if you believe disrespect always comes back around. And subscribe because you won't believe how this ends. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. My name is Diane, and for 5 years, I cleaned the home of the Bradford family in Connecticut. I wasn't live-in help, nothing dramatic like that. I came in 3 times a week, cleaned their massive house, did their laundry, and went home to my own small apartment in New Haven. It was honest work, and it paid my bills while I finished my business degree at Southern Connecticut State University. Night classes, online courses, whatever I could manage around my work schedule. The Bradfords were decent employers, not warm, not friends, but professional. Mrs. Bradford left detailed notes about what needed cleaning. Mr. Bradford was rarely home, and their son Trevor, he was polite in that distant way wealthy people are with service workers. A good morning here, a thank you there, nothing more. I never expected anything more. This was a job, not a relationship. Trevor got engaged to Vanessa about a year ago. I knew because I saw the engagement photos on the mantle, the wedding planning magazines scattered across the kitchen counter, the vendor invoices I'd occasionally see. Vanessa was from serious money, the kind that makes the Bradfords look middle class. I'd seen her exactly twice in all those months. Both times she looked through me like I was furniture. The wedding invitation surprised me. Not a personal one, of course. Mrs. Bradford left it on the kitchen counter with a note. Diane, you've been with us for 5 years. We'd be honored if you attended Trevor's wedding. The ceremony is at 2 p.m. Reception to follow. I almost didn't go. Who wants to spend their Saturday at their employer's son's wedding? But Mrs. Bradford had been kind to me over the years. She'd given me a generous bonus when I graduated with my bachelor's degree 6 months ago. She'd written me a reference letter when I was applying for better positions. The least I could do was show up for an hour, congratulate them, and leave. So I went. I wore a simple black dress I already owned, did my hair in a neat bun, and sat in the back of the church. The ceremony was beautiful, in that expensive, impersonal way. Vanessa looked stunning. Trevor looked nervous. They said their vows, kissed, and everyone clapped. The reception was at a country club, one of those places with valet parking and waiters in white gloves. I planned to stay for maybe 30 minutes, just long enough to not be rude. I found a table in the corner, sipped water, and watched the beautiful people celebrate. That's when it happened. Trevor had been drinking. I could see it from across the room. The way he was getting louder, his face flushed. He was holding court with a group of his groomsmen when his eyes landed on me. And something shifted in his expression, something mean. Hey, hey everyone, he shouted, and the room started to quiet. I want to make a special acknowledgement. My stomach dropped. That's Diane over there. He pointed directly at me, and every head in the room turned. Our family's cleaning lady. She actually came to the wedding. I guess she wanted to see how the rich people party. The laughter started. Not everyone, but enough. His groomsmen were howling. Vanessa had her hand over her mouth, but her eyes were sparkling with amusement, not sympathy. Diane, stand up, Trevor called out. Don't be shy. Maybe you'll catch the bouquet and find a janitor to marry. More laughter. My face was burning. I should have left. I should have walked out with whatever dignity I had left. But I was frozen, absolutely frozen in humiliation. That's when my phone rang. The sound cut through the laughter, and I looked down at the screen with shaking hands. It was Isaiah, my boyfriend of 8 months, the man I'd been seeing seriously, the man I'd deliberately not invited to this wedding because I didn't want to mix my work life with my personal life. Answer it, Trevor yelled. Maybe it's another rich family offering you a job, I answered, my voice barely a whisper. Hello? Diane? Baby, where are you? Isaiah's voice was concerned. I'm at your apartment. We were supposed to have dinner, remember? You said you'd be home by 6. I'd completely forgotten. In the chaos of this nightmare, I'd forgotten our plans. I'm I'm at a wedding, I managed to say. A wedding? Whose wedding? He paused. Wait, are you okay? You sound upset. I'm fine, I lied. But my voice cracked. You're not fine. Where are you? Text me the address. I'm coming to get you. No, Isaiah, you don't have to. Text me the address, Diane. Now. I texted him the location and hung up. The room was still staring at me, some people still chuckling, Trevor looking triumphant. Then a woman at a nearby table gasped, loud enough for people around her to hear. She was staring at her phone, her eyes wide. Oh my God, she said. That's Isaiah Chen. Her companion looked confused. What are you talking about? Isaiah Chen just posted on Instagram that he's on his way to Meadowbrook Country Club. She turned her phone around, showing the screen. He's dating someone here. Now more people were pulling out their phones. The younger guests started buzzing with recognition. Wait, the Isaiah Chen, someone else said. The venture capitalist. He founded Horizon Ventures, another guest confirmed. They just closed a $2 billion fund. It was all over TechCrunch last month. Trevor's smile faltered slightly, but he recovered. What does that have to do with anything? He said he's picking up his girlfriend, the first woman said, still scrolling through her phone. He posted, "No one disrespects my girl. On my way." The room went very quiet. Trevor looked confused. Vanessa looked annoyed that attention had shifted away from her wedding. I sat there, my heart pounding, because I knew what was coming. Isaiah and I had kept our relationship relatively private. He wasn't on social media much, and when we went out, it was usually to quiet restaurants or his place. I'd met him at a networking event for my university's business program. He'd been the guest speaker, talking about entrepreneurship and taking risks. Afterward, we'd talked for hours about business strategy, about goals, about life. He'd asked me out 3 times before I said yes. I thought he was too successful, too far out of my league. But he was persistent and genuine, and he made me laugh. I don't care what you do for work, he'd said on our first date. I care about who you are, and from talking to you for 5 minutes, I can tell you're smarter than half the MBA graduates I meet. We'd been taking it slow, building something real. I hadn't told him about the Bradfords because, honestly, I was a little embarrassed. Not about the work itself, but about how they treated me. Like I was invisible until they needed something. 15 minutes later, the country club doors opened and Isaiah walked in. He wasn't dressed for a wedding. He was wearing jeans and a simple button-down shirt, like he'd just thrown on whatever was closest. But Isaiah had this presence about him, this quiet confidence that came from building something from nothing. He was a first-generation Chinese American who'd grown up in a one-bedroom apartment in Queens and turned a small tech investment into a venture capital empire. He scanned the room until he found me, and his expression softened. Then he looked at Trevor, and his jaw tightened. He walked straight to my table, ignoring everyone else. "Hey, baby," he said gently, taking my hand. "You ready to go?" I nodded, not trusting my voice. That's when Trevor found his courage again. Or maybe it was the alcohol. "Excuse me, this is a private event. You can't just walk in here." Isaiah turned to him slowly. "You're Trevor Bradford, right?" "That's right. And you are Isaiah Chen, Diane's boyfriend." He said it calmly, matter-of-factly. "The woman you just humiliated in front of 100 people." Trevor's face went pale. Around us, phones were definitely out now, though discreetly. The name Isaiah Chen was being whispered like wildfire. "Look, we were just having some fun," Trevor stammered. "No harm meant." "No harm." Isaiah's voice was still calm, but there was steel underneath. "You publicly mocked my girlfriend for having an honest job. You made her feel small to make yourself feel big. That's not fun. That's cruelty." Vanessa stepped forward, trying to salvage the situation with a bright, fake smile. Mr. Chen, what a surprise. I'm so sorry for the confusion. Obviously, if we'd known Diane was your companion, we would have. You would have what? Isaiah interrupted. Treated her like a human being? That shouldn't be conditional on who she's dating. He turned back to me. Diane, I need to tell you something. I was going to wait until tonight, make it special, but I think you need to hear this now. My heart was pounding. You know how you've been applying for business analyst positions, sending out your resume, going on interviews. I nodded. I'd been job hunting for 3 months, trying to find something in my field now that I had my degree. Horizon Ventures has been looking for a junior analyst, someone smart, driven, willing to learn. I've been reviewing applications for weeks, and then last week, I saw yours come through our system. My eyes widened. Isaiah, number. I never applied to Horizon. I would have told you. I know. You applied to Meridian Consulting. They're a sister company under our parent corporation. Your application got flagged in our network. He smiled. I had our HR director review it, blind, no name, just qualifications. She ranked you in the top 3 candidates out of 200 applicants. Isaiah, I didn't know what to say. I'm not offering you a job because you're my girlfriend, he continued. I'm telling you that you earned an interview on your own merit, Monday morning, 9 a.m., if you want it, completely separate from our relationship. You'll interview with the hiring manager, not me. If you get the job, you get it because you're qualified, not because we're dating. Tears were streaming down my face now, but they weren't tears of humiliation anymore. That's the twist here, Isaiah said, loud enough for the room to hear. Diane doesn't need to catch any bouquets or find someone to save her. She's been building her own future while working 2 jobs and going to school at night. She's smarter and more hardworking than most people in this room, including you, Trevor. He turned to address everyone. I've sat in boardrooms with billionaires who inherited everything and think that makes them special. Diane is worth 10 of them. She knows what it means to work for something, to sacrifice, to keep going when things are hard. That's who I want to build a life with, not someone who was born on third base and thinks they hit a triple. The room was dead silent now. Trevor looked like he wanted to disappear. Vanessa's face was red with anger and embarrassment. Mrs. Bradford, who'd been silent this whole time, stood up from her table. She walked over to me, her eyes glistening. Diane, I'm so sorry, she said quietly. You've worked for us with dignity and professionalism for 5 years, and my son I'm ashamed. Please accept my apology. I nodded, unable to speak. She turned to Trevor. You should be embarrassed. This young woman worked hard, studied hard, and never asked us for anything but fair pay for honest work. And you mocked her to impress your friends. That's not how I raised you. Isaiah squeezed my hand. Come on, let's go home. As we walked toward the exit, I heard Trevor call out weakly, Diane, wait. I'm sorry, I had too much to drink. I stopped and turned around. This was my moment, not to be cruel, not to get revenge, but to speak my truth. Trevor, I've cleaned your house for 5 years. I've seen your family at their best and their worst. I never judged you. I never gossiped about you. I did my job with pride, because all work has dignity if you do it well. I paused. But you just taught me something important. You taught me that some people will only see your value when someone they consider important validates it. Isaiah didn't make me valuable. I always was. You just couldn't see it. I took Isaiah's hand. I quit, by the way, Mrs. Bradford. I'll send someone to cover my remaining scheduled days. Thank you for the opportunities you gave me. And we left. Here's what happened next. The real story, not the fairy tale version. The video did go viral, but not the way you'd think. Someone posted about it on Twitter, and it became a whole conversation about classism and how we treat service workers. Isaiah's post on Instagram got millions of likes. The response was overwhelming, both positive and negative. Some people called me a gold digger who'd orchestrated the whole thing. Others called Isaiah my white knight savior, which annoyed both of us. The truth was messier and more human than any narrative people wanted to create. I went to that interview on Monday. I was terrified, convinced everyone would think I only got it because of Isaiah. But the hiring manager, Patricia, was tough and fair. She grilled me on market analysis, financial modeling, case studies. It was the hardest interview of my life. I got the job on my own merit. And yes, it was awkward at first, being the boss's girlfriend, working at his company. We set strict boundaries. At work, we were colleagues. He never gave me special treatment, never intervened in my projects, never let our relationship affect business decisions. Some coworkers resented me anyway. I heard the whispers, saw the looks, but I worked harder than anyone, stayed later, learned faster. 6 months in, I landed a major client that brought in $3 million. After that, the whispers changed. As for Trevor and Vanessa, their marriage lasted 8 months. Turns out, humiliating someone at your own wedding isn't great for a relationship. The video haunted Trevor, not in a destroy-his-life way, but enough that he had to do some serious self-reflection. He actually reached out to me a year later, not with excuses, but with a genuine apology. "I was drunk and stupid and trying to impress people who don't matter," he wrote in an email. "But that's not an excuse. What I did was cruel. And you didn't deserve it. I'm sorry, Diane. I'm working on being better." I appreciated that. I didn't forgive him immediately, but I appreciated it. Mrs. Bradford and I stayed in touch. She sent me a card when I got promoted to senior analyst. She came to my graduation when I finished my MBA 2 years later. She was a good person who raised a son who made a terrible mistake. People are complicated like that. Isaiah and I, we're still together, 3 years now. We've had our struggles. Dating someone so successful comes with challenges. There are power dynamics to navigate, assumptions people make, pressures neither of us expected. But we work through them because we're partners, equals, even if our bank accounts aren't. He proposed 6 months ago, not at someone else's wedding, not in some grand public gesture, but on a quiet Tuesday night in our apartment, while we were cooking dinner together. "I love you because you challenge me," he said, "because you call me out when I'm wrong, because you built yourself from nothing and never lost your compassion along the way. Will you marry me?" I said yes. The real twist in this story isn't that a billionaire saved me from humiliation. It's that humiliation wasn't the end of my story, just a painful chapter. The twist is that I was already saving myself, already building my future, already becoming the person I wanted to be. Trevor's cruelty,